Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. Hello, welcome. This is the first time that I've ever been on the internet this way. So yay, you're here, you're special. But yeah, so needless to say, welcome. Today I'm gonna be doing a little story time, because I watch so much YouTube, y'all. I love YouTube. And a lot of the YouTube videos that I find myself watching is Storytime YouTube videos. Like different types of podcasts and like people coming on podcasts and telling their stories, people coming on YouTube telling their stories, all of this stuff. And I just find this sect of the internet like not only so empowering to the speaker, like being able to speak out your story, like speak out loud your story, especially for people to hear, is something that is so difficult and so empowering, I feel like, for yourself, because I feel like that no matter what, it validates your story a little bit more inside of you every time that you tell it. At least that's how I feel in my situation. But it's also so wonderful for the viewers to hear as well, especially if there's people out there who can relate to you, who is helped in any sort of way by you just sitting down and sharing your experience. And honestly, that's where I found the most therapy, is just listening to other people speak about things that have happened to them, because it just makes you feel so much less lonely and so much less crazy. Just to know that there's people out there who are experiencing some similar things to you as well. So I'm coming on here. This is my first time that I've ever like really truly sat down and told this story, this part of my life, to anybody, truly. Basically everybody that knows about it is people that have been involved in my life, at least know the extent to it, have been involved in my life during this period of time. But it's not something that I feel like that I've really fully digested it, and like now I really fully understand and have such a better outlook on the experience, especially because I am happy to say I'm fully out of it. As you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about my experience with an eating disorder today. So I have been in recovery for a year now. I think that I can definitely confidently say, because eating disorder recovery is so rocky, and you think one day that you're better and you're amazing and you're never gonna have any of those thoughts again, and then all of a sudden they hit you like a freaking train and you're like, bro, I thought that we gave this up. But I can like really happily say that I've been in recovery for at least a year. So that's really exciting. So I feel like that now I can definitely look at it in a different perspective, because I understand it a lot better. And I can also look at it with a much more peaceful point of view as well, because for so long I spent so much time misunderstanding this experience, and also just being so angry at myself that I caused this for myself. Because and that's the thing that's so hard about these type of mental illnesses, is that they're just caused by your own mind, especially when it comes to my experience with an eating disorder. Like, it was just so mental that I was so angry at myself, because I was like, why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just be like everybody else? Like, why can't I just enjoy my life? Like, why, And then with that anger also came like doubt and self-deprecation. So I was just very much like, this is fake, this is not real, this is you trying to make up that you have an issue. Like, you're not actually going through this, you're being dramatic, you're overreacting, like just all that whole spiral. So I think that I'm able to look at it now and be like, no, that was true, and this is what happened. And I think that just sitting down and being able to tell it fully out loud for what it was, what happened, and how it really affects me to this day and affected the person that I am today, I think that that would be a form of therapy for me, and hopefully for some of you listening who can relate on this topic, because I feel like that now that I've experienced this, it's made me so much more aware of how many people really do experience it. If they realize it, if they don't, if they're getting very severe. Like, I've just seen it in so many different people. I've seen so many different experiences from people. And it's something that so many people struggle with, and it's coming, like, this heroin chic, Ozempic body. Like, what is going on with Hollywood right now? I literally don't know. I don't know why this, like, just super duper unhealthily skinny, like, obsessing over our bodies. Like, I don't know why this, like, cracked out skinny 90s look is coming back, but it's honestly scaring me for our society. And eating disorders are so mentally exhausting and draining, and mine genuinely almost killed me. And I just hate that this is the body type that we're portraying, and the only way to do that is by injecting yourself with drugs or having an extremely unhealthy relationship with food and an extremely unhealthy diet. And I just don't want all of these young women coming up to have to go through this horrible experience for what? I just don't understand what's so idolized about it. But anyway, so sorry. So I just am saying, I just think that a lot of people struggle with this. And I think that if I would have known that what I was going through was so common, maybe I would have spent a little less time being so angry and so misunderstanding and so stubborn to trying to understand what I was going through. So yeah, but I feel like that the first thing that I should really start out with is my, like, image on food growing up, because I feel like that can definitely affect a lot of people, and a lot of people's eating disorders were either passed on to them, like, genetically or just through kind of family, I mean, not family traditions, but, like, you know, like, if your mom has one or her mom has one, then she passes it down to her, and then it goes down, you know, just that unhealthy cycle with eating and food. But my family was not like that at all. I grew up with an extremely healthy image of food. I always had access to all different types of foods that, like, I wanted. Like, my grandma's pantry was full of, like, these, like, little Debbie cupcakes and unhealthy snacks and candies and blah. Like, it was never a distinction of, like, healthy and unhealthy food. And, like, I mean, there was, but it wasn't anything, like, any sort of restricting any, like, fun foods from us, if you know what I'm saying. And my parents were very much not forcing us to eat anything that we didn't want to eat. They weren't forcing us to, like, finish meals. Like, really no unhealthy image of food. And for so long, I had a very, very healthy image of food, and I honestly, unfortunately, was one of those girls who was like, all of these idiots who have eating disorders, like, girl, just eat. Like, it's not that deep. Like, I said that so many times in my life, guys, so many times before. So I definitely always grew up with such a healthy image of food, and I think that that's kind of what led to my confusion and my misunderstanding of what was going on with me, because it had never been an issue in anybody that I knew. Like, food is a very social thing for my family, like, and it's also such a love language, especially for my mother and my grandmother. Like, they're amazing cooks. They cook a ton of food for all of our parties, literally just for anything. They're very much so like that. And so I think that that's what really caused so much misunderstanding in it all. But yeah, but I guess that the only thing that I struggled with mentally was severe anxiety. And I've struggled with that my whole entire life, since for as long as I can remember. Unfortunately, my anxiety is extremely genetic, and my genetic anxiety will literally be the death of me. That's what I always say, but it's the truth. I've always struggled with it, and from a very young age, I was able to really learn how to control it. Like, my mother had me at the age of, like, 6, like, sitting crisscross applesauce and taking deep breaths and calming down and all of that. So I definitely always had struggles with that, but it was always something that I could really control. I always had an understanding of, like, I was very, like, functioning. So I guess when things really took a turn, it was actually Memorial Day weekend of 2022. So I was 17 at the time. It was like the end of my junior year. And I had actually just broken up with my serious high school boyfriend. I was with him for a very long time. I had just broken up with him. And I remember right after him and I broke up, it was spring break, and during spring break, I got a really bad stomach bug. Okay? Recovered from a stomach bug, everything was totally fine, totally like went back on, whatever, no problems with eating. Then in May, Memorial Day weekend, I had gotten another stomach bug. And I was like, for some reason, something just switched in my brain. And I was like, all foods will make me throw up. Nothing is safe. I'm never eating again. Something is wrong with me. So I developed very serious emetophobia. And I think that was another thing too, is I didn't really have the textbook anorexia or bulimia. I had something different. I still had a fear of food. I still had a ton of restrictions on food. Like, I definitely had some form of that, but it wasn't kind of like the textbook forms. It was more, I had emetophobia, which is the fear of throwing up, and then that further caused my eating disorder. So but at the time I didn't understand any of this. It, like, something I remember, like, literally I just had that thought, and that thought truly never went away. It just kept getting worse. But at first I just thought that it was just my anxiety, because I would go through really high periods of anxiety, and my anxiety would be very, very bad, and I would always be like my anxiety, like, I hyperfixate on things to be anxious about. So I just kind of thought to myself, like, okay, this is just an anxiety hyperfixation, but it's gonna go away. Like, I'm not gonna be scared of food forever. Because, like I said, I always had a super healthy image of food. So now all of these, like, super duper negative thoughts about eating the things that I liked, eating the things that I wanted, all of these thoughts were kind of throwing me off guard. But I was just kind of boiling it down to, it was my anxiety, and I just need to keep listening to it, and it'll go away. And that was basically my thought process for a good 8 months of it. But of course, through that 8 months, it was getting worse and worse, and I was really genuinely starting to crumble. But it took me a really long time to realize how bad it was getting. So at first it started out, like, very early on, it just started out with very, very heavy food restrictions. So I had my safe foods, which was a very small group of foods. I would eat bagels and cream cheese for breakfast. I would eat a turkey sandwich and regular chips for lunch. And then I would eat, like, either chicken, or, like, sometimes my mom would make pork tenderloin, and sometimes when I was feeling really brave, I would eat the pork tenderloin. But mainly I just ate chicken, string beans, and, like, that was basically it. Like, if my mom had made some sort of, like, rice or something like that, maybe I would have eaten it, but I stuck to the same foods every day. I tried to. And if my mom didn't make something that I felt safe eating, then I wasn't eating. And of course, very quickly, my parents caught on to it, and they were like, okay, what's going on with you? Because you're not eating any of the things that, like, you normally want. Like, you normally eat, like, your eating habits have definitely changed. And I remember I would just get so angry at them, and I would just lash out on them, and I literally was like, nothing is wrong with me, I'm totally fine, I'm just on a diet right now, I'm being healthy, like, nothing's a big deal, I'm still eating, like, whatever. Sorry, the dog that I'm watching needed to come outside, so we had to get interrupted. But I was constantly shutting them out at first. In true Aquarian style, I am an Aquarius, so I definitely was handling it very much like, everything is fine, I'm totally fine, get out of my face, shutting everybody out, and not really taking the time to, like, feel any of the emotions I was feeling, to understand them, to sit down and think with them, to try to, like, maybe understand why I'm having this new thought process on food. I wasn't doing any of that. I was being very much like, I'm gonna just give into it, I'm gonna listen to it, it's making me feel not as anxious, and everything will be totally fine. Kumbaya. So I basically just did that. I guess I would say, so like I said, Memorial Day weekend of 2022, so then going into the summer of 2022, that's basically how I coped with it, was I just had very small group, like, I had a very small group of safety foods, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, guys. And then, I think that when things really started taking a turn was when I started school. So I was a field hockey player, I was a field hockey goalie. And my field hockey season started in August. So I started field hockey, and then I started getting involved with this group of friends. And friends was never something that came easy to me in high school. So I was already kind of in this very vulnerable period of time in my life because I was going through like an emotional crisis, but not realizing it at all at the time. So I became friends with this group of girls who I was very excited about at the time. And I really loved them. So I was having a good time. Everything was great, blah, blah, blah. But then things really did start to come crashing down. I was able to control it for a couple of months, like just keep it on lock. Everything was totally fine as long as I was eating the same foods every day. I knew that I wouldn't throw them up. Like, it was very easy to soothe myself. And then I also had like other self-soothing methods where, like, if I would get super anxious after I ate something, or like if I ate something that I normally wouldn't eat, I would like get in the shower and just play my music and just like sit there and just relax. And like if I would ever get nauseous or have a stomach ache or like anything like that, it would always like send me for a complete spiral. So I had certain coping mechanisms that helped me calm down. So I was just really trying to get through it, and I really, really believed that it would just go away, that one morning I would wake up and all of these thoughts would be gone. And I would just be able to sit down and eat a meal without having to have anxiety about what it was gonna do once it got into my body. And I would be able to eat whatever I wanted to eat, because it's not like that I was happy with the foods that I was eating, and it's not like that I was feeling good at all. I was rapidly losing weight. And then the body dysmorphia of it all started coming in. Like pants that used to fit pretty tight on me were starting to fit loose, and my face was starting to get thin, and I was starting to get thinner, and I was just starting to feel prettier and feel better. And yeah, so I was able to keep it controlled. I was starting to feel great. And then I also did get these weird things that I guess started at the beginning of school, where I wasn't only restricting my food now, I was also restricting my clothing. It was like I developed like these really bad sensory issues. So I couldn't wear jeans because the jeans were like too tight on my stomach, and I couldn't wear certain fitting shirts and certain fitting sweatshirts. Like I could only wear crew necks. I couldn't wear sweatshirts with the hood. I don't know why, but if anything made me feel overstimulated, I immediately got nauseous, and then I immediately got anxious about being nauseous because I didn't want to throw up. Because if I threw up, then like obviously the whole world would blow up and I would die. I guess that's what I imagine would happen. I don't know. I don't really know what that thought process was, but it was genuine emetophobia. So I was just very all out of sorts. So that all started happening, and I did always realize that something was wrong, that something was not right, and I was just trying to ignore it. But I was also so angry with myself because I was like, what is going on? Why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just sit down and eat something that I used to love to eat? Like, why can't I just not be anxious for 2 seconds of my life and just be calm for 2 seconds and not be constantly planning what I'm gonna eat next and how what I'm gonna eat next is gonna make me feel? And like, I was really realizing that something was not right. So, and also of course, with the severe amount of anxiety that I was experiencing, that caused a lot of depression. So then I started getting really depressed. Like I said, I think that basically when I first started school, it was a lot for me. School was very stressful. I was playing a sport. I was, doing my schoolwork. I had like this new group of friends that I was spending a lot of time with, and it, to me, was really great at first because I had people that I could eat around, and like it was really easy for me to eat in social settings. So it was all feeling really helpful, and I thought that everything was really getting better. But it wasn't at all by any means. And then I think by like the winter of my senior year, I started experiencing extreme depression, and everything was getting way worse. That's when I started experiencing like my first like periods of time where I would just fully starve myself. Like, just, I would stop eating for like 24 hours. Like, I would go a whole day without eating, or a whole day and a half a day, or, you know, like I would go these long periods of time without eating anything besides toast, literally. So I was definitely starting to notice that. And then also my safety foods were now getting even more restricted. Like, instead of eating bagels with cream cheese, I went from bagels to butter, but then bagels were too much, so then I just started eating toast every morning. And I was like stopping eating lunch. I was eating like very, like, it was just still turkey sandwiches and regular chips, couldn't do anything else. I would eat a cosmic brownie. That would be like the bravest thing for me to do in this period of time, genuinely. So then I was really realizing, like, okay, there is something severe with me. This is not something that I can control anymore. This is something that is fully controlling me. So I realized that, and I think I started therapy in October, but I think that I was talking a little bit about my eating issues, but I still didn't really understand it, so I really couldn't speak it out and talk about it for what it was, because I still didn't really understand what it was, and I really genuinely thought that it was just my anxiety, which it definitely was. It was definitely my anxiety's response to certain things, but it was something bigger than that, and I just didn't understand it at the time. So I think that when I finally realized, like, okay, what this is a full-fledged eating disorder that I've let get super bad and take complete and total power over me. So I remember I was like, I think my parents had made something for dinner that I didn't want to eat, so I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go to Cookout. And on the way to Cookout, like, I was having these like horrible thoughts, like, you don't need to eat. What is wrong with you? Why would you choose to eat? That's so unhealthy for you. Think about what it's going to do to your body. Think about how fat it will make you. Think about blah, blah, blah. And Cookout of all things. And just, I was having all of these thoughts, and I was like, is this the eating disorder voice that everybody talks about? Like, is this what I'm experiencing right now? So then I kind of had like a holy shit moment. Like, something is really wrong with me. I'm not okay at all. I'm literally crumbling on the inside. I need help. So I started talking to my parents and my therapist a little bit about it, a little bit more. I was saying to them, I really think that I have an eating disorder. This is what's going on with me. I don't really understand it, like, blah, blah, blah. And it was hard at first. It was really hard because it was really hard for me to accept what was going on with me. And it was also really hard for me, like, okay, cool, now I realize that I have this. Fuck, now what do I do? Like, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to go about this. I just want to wake up one day and feel better. Like, I don't want to have to work on this. So I was talking about it a little bit more in therapy. I'd gotten on Zoloft, and then I remember one morning where this was, I think, really the turning point into my recovery. Because it was like I kind of understood a little bit about it. I didn't really understand why I was having these things. I didn't understand why it was happening to me, and I was just like, basically like, you're a dramatic little white girl. Like, you have great family, great parents, great everything. You don't need this. Why are you doing this? Like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, so that was definitely my thought process on everything. So it wasn't like I was really wanting to get better before this particular event. I just was wanting it to go away, and I just thought it was stupid, and I just thought that I was stupid, and that I was the only person that felt this way, and I was just some drama queen that just needed to let it go and get over herself. But then I remember one morning, because like I mentioned, I had this group of friends, and it definitely started becoming something that I didn't need at the time. Really wasn't serving me fully. And I remember I was sleeping over at one of their houses, and I had woken up and I was not feeling good. This was one of the points where I just wasn't eating at all. And I remember just waking up and just being like, this is the last time that I'm gonna wake up feeling this way. Like, I am done. And this whole experience, I had been going through a lot of suicidal ideations, but it was never something that I ever planned or like really seriously thought about actually going through with something. It was just kind of a thought that was always there, like, okay, well, there is always this way out, like, you know. And but it never got to the point where I was like, okay, this is the only way out, until this time. And I remember I just woke up and I was like, this is it for me. Like, I'm done. I can't live this way anymore. I don't see any way out of it. I don't see how I'm going to be able to help myself, how I'm going to be able to get over this. And I don't see myself being able to ever live without it. And this is definitely not any sort of way to live. So I had a therapy appointment that morning. So I had woken up early to to go to my therapy appointment. And, this house that I was sleeping over at, she kind of lived in like a rural part of town. And, so I was just like, okay, this is it for me. I'm going to go ahead and just turn my wheel and hopefully hit a tree. So I was driving and I kind of picked out the spot that I was going to do it in, and I was very serious about it. It was happening. I was doing it. And y'all, every time I say Lana saved my life, it's not an exaggeration, because this is so dumb, but I'm sorry. Like, I actually don't think that I've ever really told this story to anybody, because I don't know. It's just whatever. But I was driving and I had just one of my playlists on, and it was on the radio was Bartender by Lana Del Rey. And I remember one of the lyrics in this song is like something like, "And the cherry Coke you serve is fine," or something. And cherry Coke is my absolute favorite drink on the face of the earth. And it's also my cousin's favorite drink. And my cousin had a baby, at that point, the baby was 3. So my cousin had a baby, and then that was also the baby's favorite drink too. So I don't know, I just loved it. And then it just reminded me of them. And I was like, I don't want to watch, this baby not grow up. I don't want to not ever sit on my grandma's back deck with my cousin and drink cherry Coke and laugh and gossip and talk. And, I just kind of was reminded of the things that made me happy, because for so long I really was just living in the dark, and I just hated everything, and I hated myself, and I just was so insanely depressed, and there was just nothing happy in anything. And then it was like, all of a sudden I got reminded of something happy and something that I enjoyed, because one of the things that I couldn't drink, of course, was soda. So after that, I was like, okay, well, something is actually really wrong with me. I have never ever been so serious about going through with something like that. I've never really wanted to do that. Something is really wrong with me. And praise Lord Jesus that I was on the way to therapy when that was happening. Thank you. So that was really my turning point. I was like, okay, I can do this. This is not the only way out. I can get better. I can make it through. Let's roll. So my therapist and I told her obviously about all of that. And then I just really kind of sat down and just told her everything that I was feeling. Just every single thought I had about food, just everything. And her and I came up with a lot of therapy plans. One thing that I did that I think really helped me was journaling. So she would have me journal. She would have me journal my 3 meals a day, what I ate, how I felt before, during, and after. And I think that really helped me at first, because, you know, once you get your emotions down from pen and paper, like it's almost like you're kind of like down on pen and paper. It's like you're kind of releasing them out with you. So it was very helpful to me. So then that just kind of got me back into the swing of things with eating in general, because I wasn't eating properly, or I wasn't eating at all for so long. So it was like I really had to reteach myself how to eat and how to digest food. And I wasn't used to this. I had gone, 8 months without doing it. So it almost became something very foreign to me and a chore. So it was not something that I was happy about doing, and it wasn't something that made me feel good. So journaling was definitely a really good way for me to be able to kind of conquer all of those emotions. And we also just started doing a ton of exposure therapy. So I just started having to eat a ton of foods that really scared the crap out of me and that I didn't want to eat at all. But I started eating them, and it slowly started getting better. And while I was going through this, my mom described recovery, and I think that this was so well, as like a spiral. So she was like, it starts out very small, like you have very small spurts of light, you know, you have very little very little good days and a lot of bad days. But then she was like, but the more and more you go, the bigger and bigger the spiral gets. And the more good days you have and the less bad you have and the more light comes. And I was like, girl, when she first told me that, I was like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like I was really feeling down, like I was having a really bad day. And she was like, but seriously, you know, she was like, at first, good days are rare, but they get more frequent as time goes on. And damn if my mother wasn't right, like she always is. And that's kind of the exact way that I can describe it. But I think that that's why recovery takes so long, is because it's so easy for you to get slipped back into that bad mindset. And that's truly what I went through for so long. But like I said, I had these group of friends, and then I decided that it was just gonna be better for me to distance myself from them. And with doing that, I met my absolute number one beautiful homegirl through a mutual friend. And I don't think that it would be fair to tell this story without her, because she truly has been an amazing light to me and my life, and just so helpful just through the way that she loves me, genuinely. Like, I think that, like, I lost so much love for myself through it all, because I was so angry at myself, and I hated myself so much, and I was so incredibly insecure. And then to find someone who just loves me so unconditionally and can sit down and eat a burger and fries, no problem. Just do it. Just eat it, you know? It was so easy for me to sit down and to mindlessly eat with her and to spend time with her. So her friendship and her love was so healing to me in so many ways. I think that definitely through this experience, I've come to cherish, quality over quantity, I guess. Because for so long, I just cared about how many friends I had and not how they were serving my life or really making me feel. But now I'm very, very strict. Not strict. I'm very picky about who I spend my time with and who I surround myself with, because it is so important to me to just be surrounded by people who fully fulfill me, and I also fully fulfill them. And I just want to make sure that I only have fulfilling relationships in my life, because that's what fills me, you know, and that's what makes me feel better. And it makes me feel better to fill other people up, because I don't know. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes any sense, or if that's kind of making me feel like sound like selfish or something. Like, oh, I'm just only out for people who fulfill me and serve me. But like, I genuinely mean like in a good way, who are good. Basically, I love to be around people who are good for me, because I've been around people who aren't, and it doesn't feel good, and I just like to be around people who make me feel good. So I think that really cutting so much toxicity out of my life, and still continuing to do so to this day, and being very sacred about who I spend my time with, was such a good move for me. Like, just surrounding myself with my people was amazing. So I really, really love her. I don't know. I feel a little like that didn't make any sense, but I hope that it did. I hope that it rang, okay? Because I truly mean it, and I truly do think that that was a big part of my healing journey, was changing who I was surrounding myself with, and changing kind of my mindset on those type of things, and people helping me change my mindset on myself as well. And I kind of, with her and with her friendship, and just with the time that like we were spending together and the things that we were doing, I got my spark back a little. And that was nice. Like, I got my, I got my happiness back. I got my life back a little. And that felt so good. I was able to really take control and take power over some things. But it definitely was such a healing journey, and it didn't stop there. I definitely, so like the last time that I starved myself, like fully restricted, was June of 2024. So like I said, it's been over a year now where I've been fully recovered, because that was the last time that I did it. And that was the last time that I can confidently say I will ever do it. And that was the kind of the last time that I restricted. I do definitely still go through bad spells or restrictive spells, but it's not really anything that's out of my control now. And through my therapy, I also realized that my trigger for these controlling thoughts is high anxiety times. So like I mentioned way before at the beginning of this story, I had just broken up with my boyfriend, my long-term boyfriend, and I was like so emotionally distraught and just in disarray, and it was a lot. My first love, ladies, we all know how it goes. And I was going through such a big emotional period of time that the only thing that I felt was in my control was food. And that was basically the theme of my eating disorder. And then my therapist and I were finally able to recognize and identify it, like, wait, like, no, every time, like, I'm totally fine until I have something that happens to me, that makes me feel out of control and makes me feel anxious. And then what makes me feel better is controlling food. And so once I had that breakthrough and that realization too of the trigger, the root of it all, I was really able to be like, okay, and just take my control fully back. And also through all of this, I was dealing with this horrible thing, but I was also getting to know myself as well. I'm 20 now, and I feel like that 17 through 20 are they're insane ages. Like, you're really going through something. Like, you're in your last stages of teenage years, early adulthood. Like, it's a lot, and it's really confusing, and I feel like that I could genuinely make a whole nother video on talking about experiences with that. So I think that getting to know myself with this has been a blessing and a curse, because it definitely has really warped the way, like, my sense of self and the way that I view myself. And it has also, like I said, I'm very picky about who I spend my time with. And that is also a blessing and a curse, because I can be very shut off and have a lot of walls to people, which I don't really love, but it's a protective measure for me, and it's something that I'm working through in therapy, y'all, okay? So I don't really love those aspects of it, because I'm just so protective of myself, because I just don't really want anything like that to ever happen to me again. But I think that also being able to pull myself out of it like I did, and being able to really heal, is something that I'm so proud of myself for. Like, I'm so proud of myself that I was able to get myself out of that. And I think that that is something that I can take with me that is so empowering and makes me feel so good about myself. So that is one really amazing thing. And like I said, it's also made me very sensitive to other people and what other people are going through, and just provides me with a little bit more understanding of other people and their actions and their reactions to things. And I'm really thankful about that as well. You know, when you go through something really rough and really horrible, you always learn a lot of lessons out of it. And I definitely have learned so many lessons about myself and just kind of about the way the world works, that I'm so thankful for, and that I know I'm going to take this and I'm going to thrive through the next phases of my life and leave this phase behind me. But it definitely is something that will always be right beside me, that I'll always think about, that I'll always get triggered by, and that I'll always be scared of. I'm so scared of losing that power again. But I also know that it's all totally in my control. So yeah, I guess that I would say that is my story on everything. It was definitely a wild one, y'all. Definitely don't want to do anything like it again. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you got something out of it or just enjoyed the story. But thank you guys so much, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Bye.